Blessings to you. Today is July 28th, 2025, and this is really just a pop-up video. The Lord just really been dealing with me on a few things. I'm very careful. I try to be very, very careful with the things that I post, the things that I say, and I've said it over and over again that I'm held accountable for the things that I say. I take that very, very seriously. One of the things I want to say is that it is very, very important to listen to God. I have spent the majority of this year really focused. Well, let me say, really, it started last year, probably the very beginning, after the third month, just really of last year, just really focusing on listening to God. I say it over and over again. I hear God clearly. This is something that I stand on. This is something that has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. But sometimes we just have to get to a place where we dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, Lord, there are some things in my life that's not quite lining up with my relationship with you. There are some things that I have to do a little bit more, go a little bit deeper, excuse me, in me seeking you and in me trying to develop an even deeper relationship with you. So the Lord specifically had been dealing with me on really listening intently to him. And there were just things that I needed to go through so that I can learn how to start the process of really honestly and truly allowing God to lead me. Now, one of the things that I was having an issue was trust. I had a lot of trust issues and I contributed them to things that I had gone through, bad decisions, mistakes that I have made in life. So it caused me to have trust issues with people. But what the Lord was showing me is that it wasn't that I had trust issues with them. I had trust issues with him. And that's why it was so difficult for me to surrender completely to him and to submit to him, was because as much as I said I trusted him, as much as I said I had faith in him, I did not trust him. I did not trust God. So since really last year, after the third month, he'd really been working with me on trusting him and submitting to him and surrendering to him. And listen, this has been a very difficult process for me because we're taught to have a plan. We're taught to have things put in place. And these are all good because you don't want to just walk around life with no goal or walk around aimlessly, with, so what are you doing? You don't know from one day to the next. But for certain people, I'm going to say this, depending on who you are, what you're called to do, you're going to need to submit and to surrender to God in every aspect of your life, which we really all should, as it pertains to certain people, certain callings, because God is going to lead us a bit differently. And I'm using my words carefully, you all. Use us in a way a bit differently than he would someone else. Us putting a plan together doesn't work for the assignment. Us making a list of to-do things doesn't work when you have to be totally and completely submitted to God. I'm thinking about the prophet Jeremiah, and I've been called the weeping prophet in a church service. I really have. But he had a certain plan for his life. Remember, Jeremiah wanted to get married. There was a woman that he was smitten, and the Lord told him he was not permitted to marry. But God put him on a journey to prophesy to Israel. Remember about the Babylonian invasion, and that they were to surrender to the Babylonians, and that's when they went into exile. So depending on your assignment, depending on your calling, you putting a plan together is not going to work. Trust me, I tried it. I'm telling you, I had all these lists of to-dos, things I wanted. I mean, I had it line, dotted, signed. I had it all together, and the Lord had to show me, yeah, that's all good and fine, but I'm calling you to go in a certain direction, and it is your submission to me and him leading me and guiding me every step of the way. And that's what I had to learn. That's what I was struggling with, because I did not trust him. I said I had faith in him, but I didn't trust him to lead me. I didn't trust that the places that he was sending me was for his glory, was for his good, was to serve a purpose. So I really, really struggled with that. So I'm telling you, since I have really, really been following him. Now listen, I don't dot every I and cross every T. I tell you this all the time. I'm still learning. I'm still being processed. But me really, really working and surrendering and submitting to God, even when it doesn't make any sense, even when people are giving you the side eye, looking at you crazy and questioning everything that you do. Once I stopped looking at man and started surrendering to God and submitting to him and the places that he was leading me and the things that he was telling me to do, and I started doing those things, life began to line up for me. And I'm telling you, me just doing those things, I can't tell you how I'm just so blessed. I really, really am. God has moved in some ways that I can't even explain it to you all. Probably not in several videos, but it has been me surrendering to him. It has been me submitting to him. Now listen, like I said, for everybody, this is, you are meant to put a plan together. You are meant to sit down and consult the Lord and put, because you are just walking around, you don't have a clue from one day to the next. Yes, for some of you, that's what you're supposed to do. Some of you are, you're fearful. It's like, it's like, how can I get this all done? Yes, you are supposed to put a plan together and those things will be executed for you. But for some of us, no, there's no plan. The plan is be available to God, be accessible to God, submit, surrender to him and the leading of the Holy Spirit and the things that he's telling you to do it. Yes, it's going to cost you. Yes, you're going to have to sacrifice. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's not going to feel good. You're going to, be looking around like, Lord, are you sure? Are you serious? Yes. It's all these different components and so much more. But I'm telling you, once I started doing that, things just started lining up for my life because it was no longer, and this is a prayer that I pray, you all, Lord, I want your perfect will for my life and not my selfish desires. Your perfect will. He'll give us the desires of our hearts, not those things that we want. Yeah, there are a lot of things that I desire, but they're selfish. The desires he's going to give us, they come from him. So those desires line up with the word of God. It lines up with the will for our lives. It lines up with the assignment that's on our life. And these are prayers that I pray. There are a lot of things that I desire. There are a lot of things I want to happen in my life. But I always pray, Lord, I want your perfect will above my selfish desires. And I want to have an obedient spirit. I want to be submitted to God. And listen, you all, for all you wanting to be married, looking to be married in a marriage, and this goes for husband and wife, you cannot submit to your spouse. And yes, men, there is some submission that needs to happen as it pertains to your wife, because some of the times the Lord is speaking to her and you don't want to listen because you're prideful. Some of you women, you don't want to listen to your husband because your family done told you he ain't your daddy, he ain't your boss, but he is the priest of your household. So yes, you are to submit to your husband in the Lord. Now, if he got you out here doing all crazy things outside of the word and the will of God, no, you don't submit to that. I'm sorry, I don't know who told you you're supposed to, but no. But if your husband does not submit to God first, he can't submit to you. He can't submit to the marriage. He can't submit to the family. If your wife does not submit to God, her submitting to you, you throw that out the window. Because either it's going to happen, it'll be a little bit and she'll retract, or she going to be complaining the whole time and you're going to be sitting there, like scripture says, on the rooftop over in the corner. Because she tripping and getting on your nerves. But if she cannot and does not submit to God first, please don't think she's going to submit to you. These are things that I had to learn. And even going through multiple marriage, these are things that I hadn't done. I hadn't submitted to God first. So how can I submit to anything? How can I submit to a marriage? How can I be, and I'm not an unfaithful person, so I'm gonna put that out there. I don't believe in all that cheating and scooting around. I just don't. That's not my story. All right. But how can you submit to a marriage? How can you submit to your husband? How can you be submitted to your family if you had not submitted to God first? And that's why so many people have all of these problems. You struggle in marriage, you struggle in business, you struggle in ministry, you struggle in life because you have not submitted and surrendered to God. You haven't done that. That's key. If you want your life to work, if you want things to line up, if you want to, have joy unspeakable, when I tell you all the peace and the joy that God has given me, it has been consistent. Like, it has not left. And things have been happening left and right, up and down, round and round. But the joy that God has given me, it has been consistent. It has not left because my posture towards Him has changed. I have a posture of, Lord, teach me how to surrender to you completely. And I'm talking about you all completely. That wasn't on my list of things to do. It really wasn't. Like, okay, I'll follow, I know, I'm called to do this, but it's like, really surrender, submit. I wasn't trying to do all that. I wasn't. And I knew that God was calling me to do it. I knew that He was going to take me even deeper in Him. But I had to get to a place like, okay, Lord, it's not working. I got some hit and misses. Yes, thank you for the blessings. But there's still something that's missing. And He showed me I'm not completely surrendered and submitted to Him. So this is what I've been really praying and seeking and actively working on. Surrendering to God, submitting to God, doing the things that He's telling me to do, the people that He puts in your life to help you along the way. If you're not submitted to God, you're not going to listen. You're not going to receive it. You're going to always be defensive. You're going to always be combative. You're going to always, come up with the whys and the thises and the that's and then, they don't know me and this, that, and you just met me. But you have to, when you surrender and submit to God, He's going to open up so many doors and show you so many things that's going to benefit you. And you are going to be so successful in whatever it is that He's called for you to do. And you'll find that you're not having all these wasted steps. That's one thing about me, y'all. It's a pet peeve, is wasted steps. I can't stand wasted steps. It's like it gets on my nerves. It really, really does. So I noticed that it was a lot of wasted steps. I had to redo it, backtrack, and all was getting on my nerves. And now that I am learning to surrender and submit to Him, I don't have all these backtracks. I don't have all these wasted steps. It's not all these do-overs and try agains. God knows everything He knows everything about everything. So why not surrender to the one who knows it all and can do all things but fail? I know this message is for someone because I didn't even know this was the direction that He was sending me for this video. Surrender and submit to Him. It's not that you have a trust issue with people. You have a trust issue with God. You don't trust Him. You don't trust Him. You may have faith to move mountains, but you don't really trust God. You don't. When I tell you I was somebody that walked by faith and not by sight, I've made so many faith moves that people looked at me like, girl, are you serious? Are you for real? Yes. And it worked out for me. But I struggled with trusting Him, trusting where He was leading me. Even if the road was tough, even if it was hard, even when I didn't understand, even when He didn't explain it to me. Because some of you think you got to have the reason why behind everything. Well, why is it this? Why is it that? Well, I'm not just going to do this and you're not going to tell me. I was one of those people. You mean to tell me you want me to just go do it? You're not going to explain to me why and when and how long and where? Just yes. Because He's God. He don't have to tell you. We nosy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have some clarification and discernment and making sure that you are actually hearing from God. We need that. But to just sit there and question Him and just And then some of you men are like this. You can't stand for your woman to question everything you do. Well, you just like, woman, just listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. Just listen to me. I believe Lord looking at us like we just question, Lord, why I gotta go over here? Why I gotta do this? You telling me to do this? I don't understand. I want to know the end result. I want to know how long. I want to know who's gonna be involved. I want to know who's gonna be over there. I want to know the environment. We got all these questions and all of these. We want to know why. When you are submitted and surrendered to God, a lot of times you're not gonna even get all that. It's just you gotta do. And you got to trust that he knows what he's doing and it's for his glory. Even when you don't get the reasons why, even when you don't understand. And what I have found out when I have gone through it, a lot of times, then he'll show me that's why. And then I'm just sitting here like, God, you amazing. God, you did that. I didn't understand. I'm just looking around like I'm the only person in the room, but I'm looking around like you talking to somebody. You did that, God. I've done that so many times. And once I've gone through and I've done what he's told me to do, then there was a release to go on to the next one. Some of you can't get to the next thing because you haven't surrendered to God in that one thing that he's told you to do. You haven't surrendered to him without complaint. That was another thing, y'all. I was just one of the biggest complainers. People hated to see me come because I was going to complain about something. A complainer, a professional complainer. Complain about everything. The Lord said, stop all that complaining. Stop all of that murmuring. God knows everything about us. He knew that a lot of fear was involved. He knew that a lot of trust issues were involved. He knew that I had, was dealing with abandonment. I was dealing with low self-esteem. I was dealing with, being a failure, not being good enough. He knows all of these things about us. He knows that one of the, it's like, well, how am I going to pay for it? How am I going to get this done? How am I going to get, he knows everything. But once you start trusting him, all of those questions, they begin to diminish. And even when you don't understand, even when you don't get the reasons why, even when there's no explanations behind it, there is a confidence and a peace in God that's knowing that, Lord, I don't even know why, but I trust you. Lord, none of this makes sense, but I'll do it. Father God, it looks crazy. But Father, I know that all things work together for my good. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. All things. Even the hard things, when you are surrendered and submitted to God. And for some of this, you may have tried it before. Like, let me try this this submission thing. Let me try this surrendering thing and see how it works out. For some of you, it just didn't work out the way you thought it was. It was like, Lord, I didn't know it was going to be like this. It usually isn't. Because you have to give up yourself. You have to give up control. When you are surrendered and submitted to something, for any of you who've gone to the doctor's office, had surgery, and they put you under, they sit under the hand of the doctor, really the big doctor, but they put you under anesthesia. That's it. You don't even know what's happening. You're surrendered to that situation. Why not do it with God? We surrender to all these different things, all these different situations, but we won't surrender to God. We won't submit to him. We won't trust him. You all, this has been one of the hardest things that I have had to do so far, and the Lord has utilized me to do so many things on this journey. But one of the very hardest things for me to do was to surrender and to submit to his leading. To all of the plans that I put down on paper, you all. I mean, I'm a note taker. I write things down. I've had, planners and books and notebooks. I mean, I can't even tell you how many notebooks that I've had completely filled front to back of things that I want to do, things I want to accomplish. Most of those things never even came to see the light of day because God was telling me, the plan is you're going to listen to me and you're going to go and do what I tell you to. That's the plan for you. And for some of you, that's what he's telling you. Now, some of you, yes, he wants you to put a plan down. Some of you, you're taking this posture. Well, I'm just going to see where the Lord lead me. I'm going to just let the Lord guide me. And you know, goodness, well, he ain't told you that. He told you to go sit down, put a plan together, put the work in. Actively put the work in, research, take these steps. But you're taking a lazy, passive approach. And some of you, he's told you all of these plans that you have put down. You didn't consult me. You pretty much put a plan down and prayed over and say, Lord, I need for you to make these things come to pass. And you didn't even consult with him. He didn't even tell you to do all that. He told you to surrender, to submit, and to do. That's what he's telling you to do. All right, you all. I didn't know this was going to be this, but here we go. All right, you all. I pray that you have an amazing, wonderful day. God bless you. I am absolutely praying for you. I love you. But remember, God so loves you most.